All right, everybody, you set up your stock plan, you have your equity programs running, but how do you know that's actually doing what you need it to? How do you know that it's effectively being seen as the value add that it needs to be to employees? Well, in today's video lesson, we're going to be talking about three key metrics that you really should be keeping an eye on to ensure the effectiveness of your equity programs. But before we get into it, I want to make sure it's understood that the three metrics I'm going to be talking about are ones that I find particularly important, but there are more than three that you really should be keeping an eye on. And for those of you that do need more in depth explanation here, I highly encourage you to check out our Leadership Development and Equity Compensation series, where our presenters will go into this topic in much more depth. But without further ado, let's get right back to the video and into the metrics I want to talk about today. All right, so first off, we have participation rate. So why is this important? Well, participation rate to me is going to give you a high level overview of the health of your programs. Participation rate is going to track the percentage of eligible employees who are taking part in your equity programs. If your participation rate is low as compared to times past, or maybe it's just not meeting industry standard, it's a great way for you to understand that something might be wrong here and you do need to investigate further. And typically, again, it's always going to vary on a case by case basis, but to me, it usually comes down to one of two reasons. One, education. Maybe your employees don't understand the value being presented to them, or maybe the program itself just isn't set up in a way that it adds enough value to encourage participation. But overall, the participation rate is just a high level overview that you can use to justify further investigation and optimization of your existing programs. All right, now our next metric is going to be burn rate / plan activity. Now, why is this important? Well, burn rate / plan activity is going to help you understand how many shares you currently have in reserve versus how many are being awarded. This can help you forecast for the future to ensure that you always have adequate shares to either continually retain your talent to encourage them to be a part of the company, or to go out and grab new talent as your company scales and grows. Burn rate is really just going to help you plan for the future, because if you don't keep an eye on this, you can get to a situation where you can't continually grant equity to engage your participants, engage your employees, or be able to go out and attract new talent. So burn rate is something that does need to something you have to keep a close eye on. I hope I've stressed that enough, but please keep that in mind always as your company scale and grow, because it always does sound like a lot when you first see a new plan getting created, but depending on your company's scale and growth, that can dwindle quite quickly. So again, it's a good thing to keep an eye on. All right. Now, the next and last metric is going to be value delivered. Now, when I talk about value delivered, for me, this is something you can use from an education standpoint and an encouragement standpoint to get your employees to continually contribute to the programs you have set for them. So when I'm talking about value delivered here, you can see the first thing I have listed is average compensation delivered. By being able to track that and seeing what the average gain is for your employees, you can use that to encourage more people to participate, because you can help them understand how in times past your programs have helped previous employees reach the financial goals that they have set for them. Being able to help control the perception of equity is also important in our field. A lot of times people in equity, or people that are granted equity compensation, sometimes they only see the cons. They don't always see the bonuses or the pros associated with them. And if you're able to identify the value that is being consistently delivered, that is something you can do to help control that narrative and continually encourage participation. And that is why I do have it here as one of the three metrics I think are very important for keeping an eye on to ensure effectiveness of your equity programs. So everybody, that's our video for today. I want to thank you for joining us. And for those of you that watched through the end, please like and share this video. It really does help us out. And we do hope to see you in the next one. Thank you.